The navy blazer, the Swiss Army knife of any gentleman's wardrobe. And with so many styles to choose from, it's quite tough to know which one to buy. Well, in this video, we're going to look at all of the different features and styles that you might want to consider when you're purchasing a navy blazer, whether it's your first one or your fifth one. Let's go through that now and see all of the different features of a navy blazer and which one might be the most versatile for your wardrobe. Hi, my name's Elliot. I'm a single father to a beautiful daughter, a lover of all things sartorial fashion, fitness, stoicism, and basically anything nerdy. And I just want to say thank you for joining me in this video today. If you could give it a like and a subscribe, that would mean a whole lot to me. Let's get back to the video. Thanks a lot. So let's quickly start with the history of the navy blazer. And I'm talking specifically about the style of blazer I'm wearing right now, because that would be considered a very traditional navy blazer. It goes far back as 1837, and this is unverified, unfortunately, because it is a fashion concept. But back in 1837, the captain of the HMS Blazer ordered this style of jackets, that's dark navy, brass buttons, double-breasted, when he was being visited by Queen Victoria. And apparently then that caught on in fashion and then was adopted by things like the Ivy League style, rowing clubs who are said to be wearing blazing jackets, and so on and so forth, all the way forward to today's fashion, where we consider it to be a navy blazer, assuming that it's navy and made out of some sort of material. So the definition has certainly slackened off a little bit, but either way, anything that's kind of got navy and some buttons, you could consider to be a navy blazer. So that's the history of it. Now, I want to set the parameters very, very clear. I am not talking about your navy suit jacket. Please, gentlemen, if you buy a navy suit, which is, again, probably one of the most versatile suits you can own, and you decide to split it into separates, I'm going to suggest that might not be your best idea. Most suits are made out of what's called a worsted wool. They have that shiny look to it, and it's very obvious that they come from a suit. So when you split them and try and pair them with other trousers or jeans or whatever, it's going to be very obvious you're wearing a suit jacket plus the bottoms, not a blazer. A blazer is usually made from some sort of heavy wool, some sort of hop sack, cotton, linen. Okay, it's not generally made from the worsted suit wool material that's shiny. Please, gentlemen, just trust me on this one. It's not a good look. So here are the 5 things that I think we should consider when purchasing or commissioning a navy blazer. First and foremost is going to be the material that it's made out of, and we'll cover that in some depth in a second. Up next is the design or the cut of the blazer. Then we're going to get into some more minutiae detail. We are going to look at lapels, buttons, and pockets. Those are the 5 areas that I would like to explore with you today so that you can decide on what might be the best overall design for your navy blazer to make the right purchase, or purchases, if you're like me. So let's first start by looking at the different materials that your blazer can be made out of, because that's going to determine how formal it is, how regularly you can wear it, how versatile it is in terms of seasons, but also how close to the traditional style that it's going to look. Now, traditionally, blazers are made out of some sort of wool because they're designed to keep you warm. They're worn by the Navy out in the sea, so they were supposed to regulate temperature. However, you can have them made out of any material you like. However, the further away from wool that you get, the less likely that this particular style of blazer is going to look okay. This particular one is made out of wool. I actually have one made out of flannel, I have one made out of cotton, and I even have one made out of linen. But the degree to which they are formal and versatile varies greatly. As I mentioned previously, worsted wool suits is not the one. That's not what we're going to go for here. We want to go for some sort of S120 up to S130 wool. We want to go for some sort of tropical wool, a wool silk blend, something like that that's going to have a really good drape and really good structure. Or if you're trying to make it a bit more versatile, maybe you lean into more of a cotton style blazer, or maybe into, say, a linen for those cooler months. It really does depend on what job you want it to do. But please make sure that you're getting a material that is most versatile for what you need it for. Now, the number 2 consideration is going to be what type of cut or design you're going for with your blazer. And we have 2 choices really. We have single-breasted and double-breasted. Now, for me personally, it comes down to formality. A double-breasted blazer for me, or any sort of double-breasted suit, blazer, whatever, is very formal. okay, I'm gonna wear it probably to work, or if I'm going out somewhere nice and I wanna try and dress up as nice as possible to show respect to the people who are there. So double-breasted for me is very formal. You can totally wear a double-breasted blazer undone informally, for sure. But I just personally think a double-breasted blazer is for the most formal of occasions. The single-breasted blazer or the single-breasted coat, jacket, whatever you want to call it, still is very formal. A suit jacket is a suit jacket, or a blazer is a blazer. But for me, if I'm going for high formality, I'm going double-breasted. Then we need to talk about the lining. Is it half-lined, full-lined, no-lined? The more lined it is, the more structure it's going to have, the better it will probably drape. However, the warmer it's going to make you. So if you're trying to find a versatile blazer that you can wear year round, even in those hot summer months, something that's got a full lining like this one probably isn't going to help you out. However, from the same token, if you go with no lining, again, it'd be nice and light. It would still have structure if you get it made from something nice, but unfortunately, it's not going to keep you warm year round. Do you go halfway? Do you go half lined? For me, half lined is the nice sweet spot, but it depends again, when you're gonna wear it, what are you gonna wear it with, and what are you wearing it for? Now we're gonna get into the minutiae. So hopefully at this point now, you've made a bit of a decision about what material you're gonna use, whether you're gonna use a double-breasted or a single-breasted, and then the lining situation, wonderful. Now we need to think about the lapels. And this is actually quite an easy conversation if you want to be traditional. If you like to be a bit more fashion forward, then you just do whatever you want to do. But I'll tell you what I traditionally do. So there are two types of lapels. There is a peak lapel and a notch lapel. And on this particular blazer, you can see I have a peak lapel. And then on this blazer here, you can see I've got a notch lapel. The peak lapel is the more formal of the two. And as a general rule, and this is just my rule, I only have peak lapels on my double-breasted blazers. And I went against that grain only one time, and it's with a beautiful linen suit that I had made from Moss Bros. And in the heat of the moment, I was gonna go with a double-breasted linen suit, and I changed my mind. I went, no, let's go single-breasted, and I forgot to change the peak to notch. Now, it still looks wonderful. It still looks brilliant. I noticed it. I'm like, it's not quite as informal as I'd like it to be. But the peak lapel is the most formal, the notch lapel is the most informal. So that's the first choice you've got to make. And my suggestion is, if you're going double-breasted like mine, go peak, it broadens the shoulders, it makes it look more formal. If you're going single-breasted, go notch lapel. Next up is lapel width. And this is a bit of a bugbear of mine with modern fashion. We appear to have got to a very small lapel width, and that doesn't suit everybody. The width of your lapel should mirror two things. Number one, the width of your tie. Now, I wear quite thick ties, quite wide ties, because I buy a lot of my ties from Italian manufacturers, and they come in 8 and 9 centimeters. And the broadness of your shoulders and chest. And it goes into how structured your shoulders are. When I have this particular blazer on, it has quite structured shoulders. So I want a nice thick lapel so that it continues the broadness. If I'd have put a narrow lapel on this, it wouldn't look very well at all. However, if we can look in this blazer here, it's a very unstructured blazer. It's very unstructured in the shoulders, and it's a general slim fit style blazer. It kind of tapers in quite nicely at the waist. So that narrower lapel suits it. However, I have to be aware that when I wear that blazer, if I wore a thick tie, the proportions are going to be slightly off. Now, that's not going to matter to your layman walking down the street, but to people like me and you who are interested in these sort of things, will probably pick up on that. So just bear that in mind. Do you want wide lapel or narrow lapel? If you are a narrower human being, you're not, gym bod like me, and you've just got a sensible sized torso, you can get away with a standard or narrow lapel. If you're a bit thicker and a bit broader, or you just carry a lot of weight, the wider lapel looks really, really good. And then the last consideration when it comes to lapels is pick stitching, yes or no. Now, traditionally speaking, on a traditional navy blazer like this, it wouldn't have pick stitching. You wouldn't have the AMF stitching around the outskirts here. I personally just think it's a really lovely detail, and I really enjoy it. So I've had it put on this one. And again, it's a bit of a faux pas if you're going for tradition, but this is about as close to tradition as I'm going to get. I'm quite happy with where I am. Okay, let's talk buttons. Now, again, if you want to be super traditional like this, you have to be going for a brass button of some description. You can totally put brass buttons on a single-breasted navy blazer as well. And I'll show you a picture here of an old Ralph Lauren blazer that I managed to get off of Vinted. I've since sold it now because I didn't like the width of the lapels. But you can see that that's got brass buttons as well. And it's got a lovely crest, so it looks very naval. So you can totally do that. However, again, just remember, brass buttons, very formal. So if you're trying to buy a blazer that's very versatile and it's got brass buttons, you might find it's a bit too dressed up to be able to dress all the way down. But at the same token, they are very interesting to look at. People always comment on my buttons when I wear this blazer, and it's just a nice visual aid. There's nothing wrong with that. Beyond that, on my other blazers that aren't double-breasted and kind of traditional, I tend to just go with a button that is similar to either the color of the actual blazer itself. So one of my blazers has got just navy buttons, or I tend to go with quite a dark brown. And the reason being is I mostly wear brown shoes. Sometimes I wear black. So if it's dark brown, you can get away with it. I have never met anybody who's identified the color of the button of my blazer to the color of my shoes. So I don't think that's a consideration worth worrying about, if I'm perfectly honest. Now, there are definitely people out there who are going to pick up on that, but it's so few and far between, I wouldn't worry too much. I would just go with buttons that I think I like and suit the style of what I'm going for. So for me, that's something like a dark brown. I rarely go black. I don't think I've got any black buttons other than on my grey blazers. On a navy, I would always go brown or a navy button. And then lastly, let's talk about pockets, because they are somewhat important. On a traditional navy blazer like this one, it would have patch pockets. And the reason being is that sailors would be sliding things in and out of their pockets. They would need easy access. However, most blazers in this day and age come with either flat pockets or that kind of jetted pocket. Now, I'm going to make the suggestion that if you're buying a separate navy blazer, to avoid jetted pockets, because they look too much like suit pockets. What I will say is, if you want to be traditional, whether you're going with this style or a more relaxed style, either a flat pocket or a patch pocket is probably your best choice. Now, there could be an argument made to a degree of formality. Patch pockets could be argued to be less formal than, say, a flat pocket. However, again, I think it depends on what your blazer's made out of. Now, on my lovely cotton Ralph Lauren blazer, it actually has flat pockets, so it brings the formality up. I think if that blazer had patch pockets, it would make it look somewhat informal and would be even more difficult to dress up to wear to work. However, because it's got those flat pockets, it still visually looks like I'm wearing a suit. But on my flannel blazer, fortunately, flannel is quite a formal fabric, so it already looks formal, and the patch pockets just add a visual interest. But if you're going to build a blazer like mine, it might be worth thinking about patch pockets if you want to be really traditional. But that's completely your choice. Play around on whatever place you're going to build it and see what you like. Okay, so we've looked at our considerations. Let's try and narrow down what type of navy blazer is the most versatile. Now, I'm very fortunate. I've got a few different blazers, so I'm going to show you each one dressed up and dressed down. To make this fair, we're going to keep the same base layers. So for my dressed up, we're going to wear a pair of grey flannel trousers, we're going to wear a pair of black Oxford shoes, and we're going to wear a white shirt and a burgundy silk tie. That's very much the basis of the quote-unquote sartorial uniform of navy and grey. And it's probably the most formal you're going to get, especially with black toe cap Oxfords and a silk burgundy tie and a white shirt. That's very, very formal. And then for my dress down uniform, we're going to go with a pair of brown Chelsea boots, dark wash jeans, and a navy t-shirt with a brown belt to match. It's probably as informal as you're going to find me as dress down. It's the one t-shirt I own, so bear that in mind. And we're going to try each blazer with both uniforms to see if they look good dressed up and dressed down. Let's have a little look. So straight out of the gate with our formal navy blazer, double-breasted gold buttons, with the sartorial uniform, it just goes. It looks fantastic. I look like I'm about to go and be the captain of the HMS blazer myself. Okay, it's a great look. You can't go wrong with this. Now, I don't actually think it's as dressed up as, say, a traditional suit. I think if you put a suit on, that is like the pinnacle of formal wear. But this, to me, passes off as a great uniform to work and or semi-formal events that I'm going to go to. Probably wouldn't wear this out for dinner, if I'm honest, but I probably would wear it to, say, like a parents' evening. So it's formal enough, it looks great. But what does it look like with the casual outfit? Well, as we can see here, I'm gonna wear it open and it doesn't look terrible, if I'm perfectly honest. I actually quite like this look. I wish I was a little bit wiry. I think this look looks good on people who are a bit more wiry, as in a bit leaner and a bit narrower. Okay, I'm thick in all kind of places, just part of being an ex-strong man, unfortunately. So I don't know if it looks as good as someone who's a little bit taller and a little bit narrower. I think this would be a better look, but it's not terrible. The one thing I will say is if you look at the shoulders, this kind of structured blazer looks a little bit out of place next to the t-shirt and the jeans, just a little bit. But does it work? Yes, it works. So is this the most versatile pick? Well, let's keep going and we'll see. But we're out to a great start. Okay, we've dropped it down a notch now. We're into our navy flannel blazer, still single button, no shiny, nothing to show off here. This to me is my everyday runner. I tend to wear this one quite a lot because it is quite versatile and it just kind of matches with everything. However, is it as formal as the traditional blazer? No, definitely not. The patch pockets bring it down a notch. Still a great fit though. Not a full cut, not a full line, so it doesn't drape as well either, but it still gives me great structure. Does it work with the jeans and t-shirt? Yep, absolutely, it works well. However, what I will say is the width of the lapels is causing a bit of a problem for me. In modern tailoring, if you wanted to wear a blazer with a t-shirt, I think you need to go with that modern look, that narrower lapel, and these big chunky lapels don't look good without a tie or some sort of formality going on, in my opinion. And unfortunately, I'm not able to wear a pocket square, so it's quite a boring block of color. It's not an interesting look. It's monotone, it works monotone, but with my other navy blazer, the gold buttons, it was a bit more exciting. So not sure on this one. It's a good look, it does work with both. Is it as good as the original navy? Well, let's keep going, we'll see. Here's an interesting look. This is a cotton chino style blazer made from Ralph Lauren, single breasted. It's got flat pockets and quite a narrow lapel. This still looks good dressed up. However, I feel like you can see that it's slightly out of place, That silk tie is causing a bit of contrast with the more relaxed cotton style. And this one doesn't drape very well at all. It's a very rigid and scruffy looking in that kind of sense. Not a bad look, but certainly not as good dressed up as the previous two, in my opinion. I still wear this work. In fact, I'll show you this picture here of me wearing that blazer with a lovely blue fedora, and it still looks pretty good, to be perfectly fair, but could look better. Here it is now with our jeans and t-shirt, and this goes. This is a great look, okay? That particular blazer looks fantastic dressed down. So it can be dressed up. I do dress it up, and I've got other outfits where it looks better dressed up, but to keep it in the order of fairness, with the sartorial uniform, not great, but with this particular uniform, I think it looks absolutely mint. I think those tiny lapels go well with this. And here's our last blazer, my linen blazer. Single-breasted, not notched lapel, unstructured, completely just 100% linen. This is one of my favorite blazers because it kept me cool all summer long. Does it look good with the flannel trousers? No, I'm gonna go no, guys. It doesn't look good with flannel trousers. Would I wear it with flannel trousers? No, but that is a conversation about versatility then, isn't it? If I can't wear it with my flannel trousers, it's not as versatile. However, it's a slightly different variation of navy as well. It's quite a light navy. Does it still look good with a shirt and tie? Yes, with the right shirt and tie, it would look really good. With this particular uniform, I don't think it looks that good. How does it look with the t-shirt? Well, actually, because of its informal texture in terms of the linen, I actually think it looks really good. I would say it looks as good as the cotton Ralph Lauren blazer. However, again, those chunky lapels, I think they make me look nice and broad. They fit my chest. But for this particular outfit, I'm not sure they go 100%. So you've just seen 4 different types of blazers there matched with 2 very different uniforms. And you've seen the versatility of the navy blazer and different styles of them. Really now it's up to you to make a decision about what blazer is right for you. If I was going to make a suggestion to you, I personally think the cotton blazer, the Ralph Lauren cotton blazer, is probably the most versatile for most people. That lovely cotton thin lapel is going to work well. However, I actually think that this navy blazer is still one of the most versatile you can own, because you can wear it with basically anything. You can even style it with sneakers. I've seen it styled with sneakers quite well. I personally don't do that, but you can totally do that. So I think if you're looking for your first ever navy blazer, I think this is the one. I think this could work for you, and you could wear it all week long and people wouldn't bat an eyelid, because you could wear 5 different types of trousers with it and still make it look really good. However, if you're looking for a navy blazer and you don't dress up as often as I do, and you're looking for something that can be a bit more informal and formal, I would go with that cotton blazer. So there we have it, the ultimate guide to the navy blazer. I'm worried I've left you with more questions than answers, but unfortunately it's not just as straightforward as this is the right one. If you're looking for a starting point, this is a great place to start. I got mine made at Hockerty. Links will be down in the description down below for all of the products that I wore today. If you have any questions, or you're still really struggling of knowing where to start with your first navy blazer or your next navy blazer, put a comment down below and I'll answer it as best I can. Thanks again. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.